When I was a little kid, I used to love to go outside and just look up at the stars. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. I would drive my mother crazy. I do the same thing with my kids today and my grandkids. Take them outside on a clear night and let's just look at space. Let's look at the marvel of space. And you have to ask yourself, why did I do that? What inspired me to go outside and look up at space? These dudes and dudettes. Star Trek got me outside looking at space all the time. I could not get enough of Bones and Spock and Uhura and Chekhov and, of course, James Tiberius Kirk showing us what space can be. And, of course, art imitating life ultimately gave us this wild inspiration to say we can go do more. Then I learned that you can have a drink in space when Star Wars came out. And I thought to myself, this is magic. Not only, and by the way, this is a microeconomy going on right here, just because it's The Economist, it's a proper publication, this is a proper conference, we should talk about economics. These people are spending money, and they're buying product right now. So all of these things that have happened over the course of my lifetime, not to mention all of the Star Wars movies, Foundation, all of the Obi-Wan Kenobis and Ashokas and everything that's coming out is keeping the dream alive that we can go make use of space to improve our lives here on Earth. And of course, for those of you who are fans of The Expanse, I'm not sure what was beyond the rings, but we should go there. But because this is a proper conference, let's talk about some proper things. So I borrowed this slide from Pierre's Twitter account, X, formerly known as Twitter, account, and I follow Pierre's commentary on his space economy commentary. And as we go through, it's a couple of years old, but as you go through this, he sort of lays out what space economy to him looks like. He's saying it's about $300 billion, and it's made up of sort of infrastructure to make things, data move, and different terminals. I think that's a very reasonable way to sort of capture what we think space economy is. But if it were up to me, and I think it's already clear that I'm not an economist, if it were up to me, I think I would add a big plus sign, and next to that put human imagination and everything that can flow from all of this right here. Because right now, today, what has come from this slide is this. We got a lot of stuff going on in space, an awful lot. Anybody know how many space companies are in space, or I should say entities are in space with some sort of connectivity going on? I don't either, but the number's a lot, for sure. But if you look at this and say to yourself, my goodness gracious, it's beautiful and chaotic at the same time, you're absolutely right. Because if you look at the space market today, and particularly at satellite operators, they're merging and acquiring all over the place. So today we have more multi-orbit companies than we've ever had. The challenge is that none of those constellations were designed to speak to each other. So now companies have all of these assets that right now don't speak to each other. And this continues to happen. And as governments put more things in space, as the commercial world puts more things in space, what we're missing is the digital cartilage to make the best use of all of those billions and billions and billions of dollars that we've put into space. How do we allow something to talk to something else that was never designed to talk to those things? That's partly what we do at Aalyria with our space-time platform, is we help things talk to everything else. But if we try to put some order to it, if we try to understand how we might envision a world where I can press a button here on Earth it goes to LEO, but then it gets shot up to MEO, and then it gets shot across to another MEO satellite, but then it gets shot down to a HAPS platform, then maybe to a ship or a commercial aircraft, and then back down to wherever you need it to go. Why would I want it to do that? I might have weather anomalies. I might have atmospheric anomalies. God forbid I might have large humanitarian crises where infrastructure in that area is no longer existent. It's no longer a function of point-to-point, link-to-link, anything. As a matter of fact, I don't even like to call satellite companies anymore. I actually think, because of the previous picture of all that we see in space, that they are part of a universal connectivity fabric. It's kind of like when oil companies started calling themselves energy companies because they felt the market pressure to do that. Space company, or satellite operators particularly, now have to deal with everybody else inventing things as well and putting them in space. Some of them are complementary, some of them are directly competitive, some of them are vertically integrated, which injects some risk for different economies, and some of them are sort of androidish, if you will, where they take everything and bring them onto the platform to make them useful for everyone else. But this is changing in real time. I don't have to tell you that. You all either have companies, own companies, work for companies, report on companies, or just walked into the wrong room for some reason. But the idea that all of this exists is amazing, and it's the most efficient use of connectivity ever known. We just don't know yet how to make the most of everything that we have in space. So if I'm a satellite operator and I have spectrum, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that not all satellite spectrum for one company is at 100% usage all the time. I think I would be correct in saying that. If that's the case, we can also create a marketplace whereby we can do multiple microtransactions such that one satellite operator can sell its excess capacity to another satellite operator for a published price, do a microtransaction, and move on. This would make everyone's spectrum more efficient, more effective, and far more profitable than it is today because of the inefficiencies that exist. Because if we ever want to be able to connect the Earth to the Moon, to Mars, and beyond in the solar system, we have to do these types of things to be able to very surgically and clearly send something to somewhere else when it's absolutely needed. Here's the thought. I'm on a spaceship, and I'm flying after an asteroid because it's got unobtainium on it, and I'm going to mine it. All of a sudden, the asteroid starts to spin. It's created some kind of phenomena for me in my spaceship, and I have to call for help. What if I can't call for help? If I haven't sorted this out, I can't really call for help, and I'm going to be vaporized in space. That was meant to be a joke. I hope that doesn't happen to anyone. But think about the ability for us to stay connected, to do anything that everybody in this conference has been talking about all day long. At Aalyria, we created a platform called Spacetime that was actually developed at Google. Some of you may know it as the platform that operated Loon, the balloon project. But right now, what you're looking at is a screenshot of something that we created. So everything around the Earth is real. We've created that. But it's also now all of these are actually coherent light free space optics shots that you're seeing from the Moon. They're coming from every Apollo landing site, going to a Lagrange point, and then coming back to the satellite systems in all three orbits that we have in space. These are the types of things that we need to do to make anything on the Moon work, to make anything anywhere else work, and everything in between. It's a very thoughtful way of trying to make sure that the investment in the space economy actually yields a return instead of it not, which is painful for everyone. I'll leave you with a final thought. Today we have lots of constellations. They're at their altitude, using their frequency, using their control plane, doing it their way. This is what they designed it for. And we have many of those. And then we have vertically integrated systems like a Starlink and a Kuiper. And they all try to serve everyone here on Earth in some way, shape, or form. What you're looking at right now is a population density map, inhabitants per square kilometer. This should not come as a surprise. You should this should look familiar if you travel at all, right? No problem. But when we look at it through a socioeconomic lens, perhaps we can more clearly see that single purpose systems that we've developed to serve people may not be able to serve all of these people. Why? Because sometimes what we've developed, it costs too much to deliver the bits to the people who can only pay so much for those bits, and they will always remain under and unserved. So maybe when we think about the future of a space economy serving humanity, it's a multi-tier approach. That is, satellite operators will partner with HAPS operators, will partner with commercial airliners, who will partner with commercial shipping companies to drive the most efficient and cost-effective bits to more people, thereby growing their market by quite a bit and giving these people the chance that they deserve to be connected to the rest of humanity. Yeah, it deserves a lot of thought and a lot of conversation, but we can do this. We absolutely can do this. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.